And that's it. We're live. Welcome, everyone. Am I late? 3 minutes late. No, I'm going to show you real quick why I'm 3 minutes late. And my house is a mess because their kids have all been playing here all day. But this is my backdrop right now. If you've seen me on Instagram, this is cardboard that my wife gave my kids, and then they brought it into the house, and then they've been glue gunning toys to it and making things, and there's ledges and things coming off the top. And
that's only half of it.
That is literally only the half of it. The rest of it got piled on the floor. But we didn't realize we were going to have to do all that stuff before we did the live feed. So it's a little bit of madness in here. So look, if you have never been here before, if this is your first week and you're like, why the hell is this guy talking to us on the internet? I'm about to tell you. Because I have a YouTube channel called Rap With Reynolds, which is where you find yourself right now. This is a service I provide every Sunday night where I come on here with my trusty band of teachers that are in the comment section, and we answer your questions. It's like a group activity, but I'm the only one in the group that actually has a voice and a face. So if you have a question about anything, you're wondering about how to handle something at school, or you're freaking out that tomorrow's Monday or the school year starts for you in like 2 weeks or whatever, just leave the question with us. I'll do my best to answer it. And if I don't have an answer, somebody in the comment section is going to pick it up. And even if I do have an answer, somebody else might be able to like hash it out or see what your follow-up was or whatever on there too. So this is, like I said, a group activity. If that's not enough for you, if this is too private or too public, there's a Facebook group, Real Rap With Reynolds Teacher Talk on Facebook. It's a closed group. Only me and the not-so-secret wife let people in, and so that's an opportunity for you also. I also do private mentoring with people where that's like a service that you can email me about, and I will meet with you once or twice a week. Or I'll come and talk to your whole school. So just let me know. And if you live in a foreign country, I could just Skype with your whole school. So that's it, right?
Yep.
And in the fall, I'll have a book coming out about all this stuff too. So there's that awesome stuff too. What's that?
This is brought to you by YouTube Premium, $1.99. Thank you for teaching.
Nice. Thanks. That's my new favorite. Her and Shirley Martini are like my favorite names. Did she drop
Shirley Martini?
I don't know if you can. It's like two different bands, right? It's like Van Halen is no better than Tony Bennett, but Tony Bennett's still a class act. You know what I mean? So look, drop your questions in the comment section, and we will get jumping here for everyone that needs help. I love when I see the same people showing up every week. It's just like,
it's lovely.
It's good for my soul. Which, by the way, hot for teaching, $1.99. Thanks. Yo, YouTube Premium. If nobody else has it, like this isn't branded, but like it is awesome. When you skip ads. So I had a hiccup with my card that I used, or something happened, and I all of a sudden got ads for like a few days. It was the worst, right? You're just like, what is like? Why am I watching ads?
You didn't realize how great it was until it was taken away.
Or that you can listen to music. So I make all my playlists from videos on YouTube, and then I save them. And when I go running, it's like that same playlist plays all the time, because you can play it after you lock your phone and the music still plays, but that goes away also. So you like hit the lock button, you're like, or you're like running and you're in the zone and you're listening to your jam, and then all of a sudden like a friggin' Geico ad comes on and you're like, what the heck? Like, no, man.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. Do we have questions already?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know, girl.
Hot for teaching.
So do I have to say, I feel like I want to sing it every time that shit. Hey, I'm hot for teaching. Question is, what is your policy on late work if a child is frequently absent? So my late work, I don't do late work, but if you're, what's that?
It's or a child that is frequently
Yeah, I'm going to address both of those.
Oh.
So my general policy is I do not take late work. Now, if you were late to school and you had a note or something like that, that's fine. Like, not a big deal. And my rules are all fairly fluid. It's like plastic, which plastic isn't fluid, but I guess whatever. So my gig is I don't take late work because I think that it teaches kids the wrong thing, that you can hand in things late. And although some people will be tolerant in your life of things that are late or people that are late, after, like, if you do it consistently, you just suck and no one really wants to work with you anymore or have you over for dinner or whatever else. So, but if someone is like consistently late because they're just late to school every day, I don't know that I wouldn't take it. I think I would have like a points off kind of a thing, or I would have a conversation with that student and say like, look, man, this can't happen like every day. Like we need to figure out a plan for this. Or I would talk to the rest of my team and see what they thought as well. Like maybe the rest of the 9th grade team thinks it's like, it's bothering me, this angle, I gotta move this. Maybe the rest of the 9th grade team like thinks that it's like something we should hold someone accountable for or something we shouldn't, right? So to give you an example of that, I didn't realize that our school has a policy that if you're suspended, you get a 0 on any work that you missed while you were suspended, right? And we don't suspend, I don't think we suspend easily. And other people might argue that, but I don't think we suspend easily. So if you're suspended, like you got like something pretty bad happened. As a team, we decided last year that this year we're going to uphold that rule, right? So there's a lot of fluency or flexibility in our school. Like teachers are really given autonomy, and there are very few guidelines that like we all have to follow. But as a group, we've decided that like that's something we're going to uphold next year. And so I think sometimes those kinds of questions are like worth it to have as a group to see like for a specific student like that comes in late every day. Like why are they late? Are they late because they're just lazy, because they get up late, because their mom has to drive their sister to school first? Or I have a kid this year that was late every single day, but then I found out he had to walk his little sister to school because his mom was at work every morning and he didn't want her to walk by herself. And so that was a process to get her there. And so he was like 25 minutes late to school every day. I kind of get it, man. Like that makes sense to me. Or my son is late to school every single day. Every day, that's fair to say?
He's like 3 out of the 5.
Yeah. But he's like 5-ish minutes late.
Yeah.
Because he is ADHD. The magic meds don't kick in for about 45 minutes. And so like sometimes it just takes a long time to get him out the door. So it becomes like a thing. So that's my long answer to your short question. Yeah. So that's one thing. And I don't do makeup work. So if you miss an assignment and you don't have like a reasonable reason to not have been at school, then you just don't, like, I don't do, like, if you missed the assignment or like, you can't make stuff up that you didn't hand in no matter what. Jay Dobson is asking, it's Monday morning and I'm reading and I'm about to head back to school for term 3. Oh man, term 3, that's near the end. What's your best way to get back into the swing of the school term after holidays? Let me think about this. So like, I'm trying to think about like whether, like I made a video about this, about like going back to school after spring break. The first thing I do is reverse engineer my year. So I have like. Oh
no, she's only in the 2nd semester. Term 3 is 2nd semester in Australia.
All right. So if there's only a little bit of time left, even if it's like 2-3 months after our spring break here in North America, I will reverse engineer my year. And so figure out like how many days I have left and how much time like that really means in the classroom with the students and all that stuff. And then figure out what I can actually get done. And that just builds in excitement in and of itself, because you're excited to just be finished school and like the end is in sight. The other thing I do is try and think of like fun things I can do just in the school. Like, so what can I do for another teacher or to make someone else's day exciting or funny or uplifting because I know they're going through something. That kind of stuff makes me stop thinking about myself, but it's really sort of selfish also. So like I might go in and like do a prank on someone or just have a funny idea in mind. And then in doing that thing for someone else, I know that's going to make me feel better also. So I try and think of those things as well. So I would say that that's a suggestion, is to just like think about whose life you can impact when you go back to school. Are you looking for me?
No, it's a parenting question.
Okay, all right.
I got it.
Parenting. Everyone's upstairs playing
yes,
Switch or something like that. Vicky Bleak is asking, is teaching high school easier than elementary? I mean, as far as kids. I think that's going to depend on your school, on your district, on what kind of classes that you have. So some high school teachers, I think, have it easier. I teach ninth grade, which is like just before. So where I teach, I feel like ninth grade is still very immature. And then 10th grade is this big jump in maturity. And I know that because every year the 10th graders come back and they go, Reynolds, what's wrong with these freshmen? Like, we were never like this when we were freshmen. I'm thinking, bro, you were 100% like this when you were a freshman. So I think it depends. And then I teach like some of the classes where the students are like on a sort of like lower reading level. So they might be like on a second or third grade reading level in the ninth grade. In that case, there's a lot of behavioral management issues also, because these kids haven't, like, a lot of students haven't learned to read or write correctly. And so that presents itself in a number of like behavioral issues as well. And so that gets you like certain types of behaviors that are much different than even the other ninth grade classes. Like it's much more difficult to sort of wrangle them in, to get them to do work, to encourage them, stuff like that. So I think it just kind of depends. And then look, I mean, I've taught senior classes that were awful also, that were like just the craziest nightmare. It was like that scene from Kindergarten Cop when he's at school for the first day, but with adults. And it was terrifying and awful and made me feel like I was the worst teacher that ever existed. What you got? Piano Boy is asking, what qualities or traits do you most value from students? What qualities or traits do you least like from students? I think students, one of the things I love when students have it, because I think it just benefits you in your life, is being like a self-advocate, right? So like if you need help, you're going to come and see me. If you need extra time on something, if you want to talk about a test, if you want to talk about something that happened in class, like you actually taking the action steps to make that happen is awesome. But I think that that's just good practice in life. Other than that, I think I do like kids that have like really good work ethic, but I think that's a good thing in life too. And kids that are not afraid to share their opinion. Like students need to realize that their story is important. Like what they're thinking and feeling and going through on the inside or have been through in their life is actually important. And I'm not so sure that all students always get that. And that's something that we like sometime in school. Like I remember 7th, 8th grade, I started feeling like my voice was really not important, to the point where like I would be a part of conversations or near conversations and not add my 2 cents because I was too afraid of that someone was going to make fun of me or talk crap about me. And so that just made me shut down. And then in 9th grade, I didn't talk to anybody. Like I had no friends in the 9th grade. And not until 10th grade did I sort of start finding my voice and realizing that I had something to say. I still don't know that I realized it was important, but I had something to say, and that changed stuff for me. And so I think helping kids do that is really important. I think the things I don't like that students do are the complete reverse of that. Kids that think, or rather kids that think their voice is more important or more right than everyone else's. I think that's something you have to unlearn. And kids that blame other people for everything else, because that doesn't get you anywhere. So like as an adult, you can blame other people, but it doesn't move the needle for you, right? Like, so even if you're right, even if it was your parents that messed you up, or it's your job that sucks, or your principal's an ass and like he messes things up all the time, or the other people you work with are like really inconsistent and inconsiderate, like, okay. But if you don't take that ownership on for yourself, then nothing ever changes, because otherwise you have to wait for other people to change so your situation gets better instead of just making it better, like deciding it's better. And then, so I was listening to, not go on too long about this, but I was listening to a podcast the other day with Tim Ferriss, and he had Terry Crews on, and Terry Crews was saying, you need to kind of be the thing you want to be, and then I forget how he said it, but it was sort of like, he goes, if you want to be a writer, you just decide that you're a writer. Like, yeah, I'm a writer. Now, what do writers do? they write. And then once you write, then you have a book, and then now you're a writer. So like, if you want to have an awesome day, just go into your job thinking like, or go into your class. Like if you want to have an awesome class, like what do good students do? What do great teachers do? Now go do those things and it should work out just fine for you, I would imagine. So that has worked for me in my life. And so that's what I would share there. These are really long answers tonight for very short questions.
I know. Speed it up.
Maybe we could have a show called Long Answer Short Question where I just riff on stuff. Jake is asking, serious question here. How do I get a hat like that? This hat I got in San Francisco, and it kind of looks like one half of a, what is his name? Sherlock Holmes hat. It reminded me, like if I had two of these. But it was from the Obey, like Shepard Fairey's Obey line.
Wait, so his stuff trailed off a whole bunch of responses of like people want you to take the hat off and they miss Reynolds' hair.
Oh, well, let me tell you the real story. So the person that does my hair is my cousin Alexa. She's lovely. She's my godchild. Alexa just had a baby, and so I haven't gotten a haircut because she's been busy like having babies, and now I'm in need of some hair care.
Now she's on maternity leave.
Now she's on maternity leave, and I'm gonna have to like get someone to go watch a baby so she can cut my hair real quick one day. So yeah. Plus it's summer, and I was running today and all that stuff too. Jean Marie Simpson is asking, what day is it for running? Today was 2/16, 2/17. I think I put it on my Instagram stories today, which is like bonkers. Like every day that I add on a number, I'm like, I can't believe I have run this much. So my new thing is I'm going to do push-ups for every day for the rest of the time that I have to do this, and just see what it looks like if you do like 100 plus days of push-ups like in a row.
How many push-ups are you doing?
I think my minimum is only going to be 10, because then if I can pump out a lot of push-ups one day, then the next day
I'm sure you'll still find an impact from just even 10 push-ups a day for the next 100 days.
Are you saying I'm skinny? And if I do 10, just 10 a day?
Well, I just think if you do anything for 100 days, you find there's an impact, like whatever it is. It doesn't always have to be physical.
No, I think you're batting cleanup right now. I think you're saying
Get
so
the
skinny.
hell out of here. Look, folks, you heard it first.
Yeah, they heard exactly. It's on the
No,
internet.
you heard it first that he's going to commit to doing that. We'll see.
I think I'm going to record myself doing push-ups, so that seems like even more narcissistic than a lot of the other crap I do.
No, you don't have to record.
Kimberly Wallback is asking, I have a second interview with Human Resources for a new job this week. Any pointers? First of all, awesome. Getting second interview is a really big deal, like to get called back. So I would go in with the most positive attitude that I can. And my tips are always the same. Look up something about the school and be able to ask, like, or comment, hey, I saw you guys won the lacrosse championship. Fantastic. I love lacrosse, like whatever that is, like, and know something about what's going on with their school. 2, if you have a human resources question, be prepared to ask it, like, hey, I'm just wondering, like, how do your benefits roll out, or whatever that situation is. And then I think finding out that person's name, like getting their card from them so that you can immediately, not the next day, not 2 days later, immediately go home and just write a handwritten card. Go to Target or wherever your, thank you cards are sold. Get like a simple blank or like a simple thank you card, and then write in it and say like, hey, thanks so much for meeting with me today. It was a really great pleasure. And then what if they told you something personal, like about their kids or whatever, like, hope your son has a great first day of 5th grade this year, whatever, and sign your name. That's it. And that goes a really long way, and it breaks through the white space, or it is the white space for like most people are just sending emails and stuff. So instead you're doing that. Katie Sims is asking, hi from England. Hey, if you're there from England. I almost say good day, but that was Australia. I love England. Man, we went to, I've only ever been to London because that's where you fly in and out of. But man,
it was wonderful.
It was magical.
I felt not fancy enough.
We were not fancy enough. People in
we
England
also came
dress
from
way
Africa.
better than
like, and we gave away.
No,
all
I showed up
belongings.
in England with what do we have on? Bathing suit, and I had an old T-shirt. But that was like, no one wears bedazzled shirts there. There's no airbrushing going on. Everybody looks like a model. It was crazy. Anyway, I I'm starting my NQT this year and was wondering what key pieces of advice would you have to help me survive my first year. What's NQT?
I don't know.
Katie, what's NQT?
Or
I don't
anyone
know.
else.
Am I not young? Maybe it's hip English culture that I'm not aware of. So let's go. It kind of doesn't even matter because it's either going to be your first year of teaching or the first year of like what we would call like student teaching. And I think the move is the same. One, do not wait to be the teacher that you always wanted to be. Start now and then let everyone else catch up. You'll be weird for a while maybe, but that's okay. You'll just become finally known as the endearing odd teacher. The other thing that I would, what's that?
And newly qualified teacher.
Okay, so
teacher.
So I'm on the same path here. 2, be visible in the school for teachers and other students to see. Do not hide out in your classroom. It's a very easy thing to do as a new teacher. So like be at the door when kids are showing up, be at the door when kids are leaving, be like around in the office or like saying hi to people, like build those relationships now and work on them often. And that will benefit you more than anything else that you do this year. And third, I would say, just be mindful of caring for yourself. Like build in non-negotiables, whether it's a date night, whether it's a massage every so often, whether it's like you run every day, like whatever it is, there has to be non-negotiable off time to get stuff done because, or to take care of yourself because otherwise the new year can take up all your time. And I know I'm speaking from experience in a way that like this summer, we are in the business of building a business right now. So my wife and I, so I am no longer teaching for the summer. Like I have off for the summer. My wife quit her job to just work on the business because we have like some secret business stuff going on too that I can't talk about for a little bit longer, but I'm also finishing my book and stuff like that. So it takes up, I could easily work 24 hours a day on this.
Yes.
Like I could work all the time from like trying to get into conferences to answering emails from people to all the different stuff. It is imperative that I take time during the day and like go for a run, to meditate, to pray, to play with my kids, to just wrestle with my children, to finished Stranger Things season 3 last night, to do that kind of stuff. Like I have to make myself, and it's not always easy. Sometimes I don't even want to be doing it. Sometimes I just want to be doing work, but I know how I operate. And I know that if I work too much, like if I work 12-hour days for 3-4 days in a row, there is a hard crash on the other side of that every single time. So it's better for me to like kind of like I'm running a marathon or a trail run instead of running like a sprint or something like that. I'm ready. What do you got? Is this the next one? There it is.
Yeah.
Eric Johnson is asking, how did did I even answer that last question? I think I did.
I think so.
Okay.
It's right behind it if you want to.
Yeah, that was good advice. Okay. That was, if I do say so myself. Eric Johnson's asking, how did the hiring process go for you personally? Did you get the first job that you interviewed for? What kind of questions did they ask you? So Eric, I did. Here's the funny part, man. I've gotten every job I've ever gone on an interview for, but I am like the least likely candidate to get the job. I went to community college for a long time. Like you're only supposed to go for 2 years. I don't even remember how long I was there.
For like 6.
I think I could have got my doctorate there. Then I went to Rowan University, which is like a 4-year school here in Jersey. And at Rowan, they lost. That's what they told me. Like at least 3 times my application to get into the education department. So I had to end up graduating with an English degree because I couldn't get into the ed department and I was tired of being there. So then I went back for my post-baccalaureate degree, which is essentially you just go back, take your education classes. They give you a post-bac degree in that. So it's essentially the same as like having a double major, but in secondary ed. And then but then I didn't even start teaching until I was like 27 because I thought I wanted to be a clown and a drummer and a priest. And try telling that story at your interview, right? So I sound like I have zero ability to like focus on a thing or to complete something like in a reasonable amount of time. And it essentially feels like I ran a race that everyone finished a long time ago. And the confetti was all on the ground. The finish line was like detached and just kind of like fluttering in the wind. Half of it probably blew away. And there's banana skins all over the ground because that's what people eat after races. And then sometime late that night when no one else was watching or looking, here comes tired-ass old Reynolds, crosses the finish line. That is literally what my life has been like. So the fact that I got any of those was kind of amazing. So, and I say that to like encourage people. Like if you feel like you are not the one for that, then.
But you didn't answer the question.
I will. So now, questions that I think they ask a lot of are, what's your classroom management strategy like? Which is, I think, I always answer, it has to do with relationships. I think building relationships with students, with their parents, and with other teachers is the way to combat classroom management issues. It's long-term, not short-term, but once you get it going, it really, really works. 2 is consistency for classroom management. Same thing every day. Kids know exactly what to expect. They know how I get down. They know where stuff is. They know how we're going to start class. Like I don't have to micromanage 1,000 different things. They're going to do it themselves. I think they ask about like, how do you see yourself becoming a part of our school community, which like that takes some work on you on the front end to see what other things exist at the school that you could be a participant in. And why do you want to be a teacher and why our school? You need to make sure that when you're talking about the school you're going to, that this isn't just another school. Like when I help out with interviews and someone comes in and they're like, they tell you like where else they've been interviewing and they just sound like your school is just like another kind of like notch in the belt. It's like, no, dude, like make it like you want to be there. Like, hey, this is what I really enjoy about your school or what I like about your school. And this is what I want to be a part of while I'm here. So talk about that. Like be ready to be excited about their particular school. It's like if you went on, I don't know, like this isn't a really good example, but like, let's say there were several people you wanted to date. If you go up to kick it to somebody, you can't just kick it to them and be like, I know, like if I get this date, I'm going to go to the movies, we're going to go out to dinner, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great, I promise. You have to make them feel like this is special about them. And so that wasn't a very good metaphor. I also haven't been on a date since I was like friggin' 18 because me and the not-so-secret wife were like partners for life over here. What do you got over there, dude? Is this Turtle in here making all these turtle things? Turtle, you changed your name to J-Dog. 11/25. Now we all know your birthday. I assume. Turtle is my student for everyone that is not privy to Turtle's antics on here. I might get this name wrong. Aman, maybe? I'm not going to get your last name, and I don't want to mess it up. So, Aman, I apologize. I'm not good with names. Hey, Reynolds, I just got into watches and was wondering what's the watch that you wear and if there's a story behind it. I have 2 watches.
I knew you were going to laugh at this.
I have 2 watches. One is, what do I wear? What's my electronic, John? It's not an Apple Watch. It's a Fitbit.
But it's
it's like the Fitbit.
Versa.
Like so I can swim with it and it counts my laps. I run with it. It has my music on it. I can bike with it, and so like it tracks all of my mileage and all of this stuff that I'm interested in.
It's a Versa.
It's called a Versa. So like it's but it has GPS on it also, which like I think the newest Apple Watch has, but the older the one that I could actually afford doesn't have it on there. So I didn't want that because I wanted to be able to count my miles. And the other watch that I have is I get so much love for it. It cost $9.99 at Target, something like that.
It might have been 20 and 50% off. So
yeah,
like
it was super cheap.
It was like after Christmas. We just saw it.
Really
and I was
nice,
like, oh, how
but
pretty
like
is this?
all of my students always compliment me on it and stuff like that. I really like watches too, but I just not making that watch money yet. We'll get there. Those bling watches.
Uh-oh.
What you got? You want me to sing?
I'm trying. No, I don't really want you to.
Got it made, got it made, got it made.
No.
I'm half a teacher. Mr. Ramos is asking, hey guys, I'll be entering my first year teaching in 3rd grade. First of all, awesome. You don't hear about enough dudes like teaching elementary school or primary school. Like I love it. I have been stressing out about preparing for the year. Any advice on tips on how to get ready for school starts in about a month? I would say that one, there's 2 questions I would ask myself. One, what would this look like if it were easy, right? So like if this was super simple, what sort of steps would it take to just complete it? 2, what would it look like if this was fun? And so assuming that you're going to be having the greatest time of your life, that all this work that you've been putting into and getting ready for your whole life to be able to teach this grade this year, what would it look like if it was a blast? And then act accordingly. So I think more times than not, we put like all this undue stress on ourselves when we like start. I do this too. Like every year, beginning of the year, I feel like this is it, man. They're finally going to figure it out. They're going to figure out I don't know what I'm doing, and like they're finally going. I'm going to lose my job this year because who the hell would ever hire me? And or have like nightmares every year before school starts. Like this is stuff that happens to everyone. But I decided last year because of something my wife said to me. With that, I don't know if I talked about this on here. Maybe if it was last week. I don't know if I did, just tune me out for a second. But I was doing a speaking engagement somewhere in front of like a ton of people. And there were a lot of principals and stuff there that like I could potentially get other speaking gigs from speaking there. And as I was speaking, my hand was shaking because I was so nervous. And so I called my wife and I was like, dude, I just tested out the microphone. My hand was shaking. I'm really, really nervous. She goes, you're not nervous. You're just excited. And I thought, this kind of feels like the same thing, right? Like being really nervous and being really excited, except for the pit in your stomach, feels kind of like the same thing. And so I just decided I was excited instead of nervous. And that, like, just that mind shift, like really, really helped me. And when I got up there and my hand was shaking, I was like, damn, I'm so excited. Like my hand is shaking. And it worked. That worked for me. So Ramos, make your classroom look the best that it can. Have something really fun for the kids to start off on. And what I think I like to do in that beginning of the year, this is my biggest piece of advice that I don't think most teachers do. Because I have no real proof for that, but I have no proof to believe otherwise either. I think I might be the only teacher that I know that starts the year going, I'm really glad that you're here. I'm really excited to be teaching this year, and I can't wait to get started because it's going to be the best year ever. I don't think most teachers do that because they don't want to like have to live up to that expectation. But the thing is, when you make something public like that and you're telling 3rd graders that information, like now you got to bring it. And so I think going into school and not going through the rules, not going through how you get in trouble or what your expectations are. No, the first part of the day at least is, dude, this year's going to be so awesome. Let me break it down for you like this. We're going on trips. We're having people come in and speak. I have these really great projects. Here's some of the pictures of it. I have a whole slideshow of what we're going to do. Or this is who I am, or this is where I came from, and this is why I'm excited to be here, or this school's so awesome. I'm so glad that you could have been in all these other classes, but you got me, and we're going to make the best out of it. I want to be the teacher that you talk about when you get to 4th grade. You're going to be like, oh, who'd you have? Oh, Mr. Ramos, yeah, he was the best. Like, that's how I would go at that instead of all the other stuff that, a lot of other teachers end up talking about. And look, that's going to depend on your personality too, right? Like I've said that to Cho one time, and Cho was like, dude, I can't start the year like that. Like there's not a chance in the world, and it's not her jam. And I'm like, all right, so that makes sense. Like it's not your gig, but for me,
it's a balance of, I think, both of those things.
Yeah. Dustin, this is my buddy. If you see him on here, Dustin, he's an awesome dude, and he has a YouTube channel that you should check out. I'm wanting my students to spend more time reading historical fiction books in class. Is it a good idea to take 10 minutes every day or one day in the week to have them read? Yes, I think if you want kids to like reading or just read more, you need to build more time into your class. I think 10 minutes is good, especially if you have really reluctant readers. So my go-to used to be 20 to 30 minutes. But if you have kids that have a really hard time with reading, also like reading for shorter periods of time that are consistently quiet, like we are silent in class when this is happening, that's going to build that muscle memory of reading and help your students become better readers and less reluctant readers. And I set it up like, I say, yo, look, this is the book I'm reading this week. I'm really excited about it. And this is what I'm thinking is going to happen next. So like, so when we get into this, I really need you to be quiet because like, I need to see what's going to happen next. And that goes really far. Like kids will get behind that. And then when we're done reading, it's like, yo, this is what happened instead, or this is what's going on, or I got this really good insight from something. Like it was amazing. So I'm actually showing what it looks like to be an active reader. I'm making predictions, I'm thinking about it, I'm internalizing it, I'm connecting it to my life, and I'm sharing it with other people. That's what you want your students to be doing. Also, like, hey, did anybody else have like something that happened today that they thought was awesome? Did you learn something new or a new word, or you connected it to your life, or you were like, damn, I didn't like, that was kind of a weird spot, like thing that happened in a book. So you're building that sense of like a conversation around reading in your class that just happens really informally a couple times a week. And I think that's a great idea. So you could do it once a week. That's what I do. I really think like 3 times a week might be better. I just don't have enough time built into my schedule because our classes are too short. So once a week just works better for me. But like, I think you could do it like Monday. I wouldn't do Friday. I would do like, even if it was like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Monday you're coming back. You don't have to like work that out. You can remind everyone to bring their book the next day. And then Friday I wouldn't do it because it's Friday. And well, you know how Fridays work. Mr. O's spectacular. I like when you smile, like you knew I was going to smile at something. And you're like,
I know.
I was gonna, right? Mr. O is asking, what are your discipline consequences? They vary. They vary per student, largely because oh gosh, this is a lot. How do I break this down? I will say this on the front end. I have if you go to the top of my YouTube channel and type in classroom management, a bunch of videos will show up and that will give you some insight. Consequences, like, I'm trying to think of like some definitive things that I do so that this isn't too wishy-washy. So I'll give you this example. I do not talk if other people are talking, ever. Not one kid, not a little bit, not sort of, not start and then stop. Like I just don't talk if someone else is talking because I try and be clear and concise in what I'm saying. I really need you to hear what I'm saying and I'm not just trying to ramble. And so I need you to lock into what I'm saying. So I'll say, yo, I need to give you instructions on what's going down next. I need 60 seconds of your time to make sure that you understand what's about to happen. Got that? Cool. I go into it. Someone talks, my man, I need you to stop talking because I'm trying to, the thing I was talking about doing, I got to do that right now. Or otherwise in 10 seconds, you're going to ask me what I was talking about or what we're supposed to be doing. Got it? Cool. All right. I launch back into it. But man, why are we talking again? I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand what's happening here. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Cool. Well, I need you to lock it in then because I'm going to talk again. But if you're talking, I can't talk at the same time. Cool. All right. Then I go again. If that student talks again, bro, I need you to step in the hallway real quick. You're not in trouble yet, but I need you to step in the hallway. Go out in the hallway. And I always ask that student, is there something I did that either made you not understand what I was asking for or I upset you in some way, shape, or form? If the answer is yes, then I listen to their complaint. Maybe they talked over me on purpose because they didn't like what I said or I hurt their feelings or I did something in the hallway earlier in the day that pissed them off. I have no idea, but I'm willing to listen to that. If they say no, that something I did was not the problem, that they were the problem, I then say, well, then I need you to be 100% clear on what's happening here. I want, more than anything in the entire world, for you to do well in this class because I want you to have everything you ever dreamed about having. The problem is if you're talking while I'm talking, you don't know what's happening. Then now you're distracting someone else, you're distracting yourself, and you're going to set this train back once we start getting moving, right? No one has time for that. So what I need you to do is when I'm talking and I ask you to be quiet, I need you to lock into what I'm saying. And then if you have follow-up questions, if you still don't know what I was saying, if you have you're an ADD guy and like you need, follow up. Like I live that life, man. I know what that's like. Like you heard all the words coming out. You don't make any sense of it. Now you got to get someone to explain it to you. I got you. But what you're doing is distracting everyone else and saying that what you're thinking or doing right now is more important than what I'm doing. And that's not the case. So, because I'm more important right now. So that is an example of what will happen. Then we go back in class. If it happens again, now I got to like have a meeting with you after class or talk to somebody else that knows you better. And we come up with a conversation on, or like how we're going to lay that out. But that's what that looks like. I almost never call home. I find that that's really fruitless in my situation. I know a lot of other people have great success with that. It's not my bag. Other than that, that's really like the only thing someone can get in trouble for in my class, because like I just run things so consistently and so quickly, and I really get across the fact that I enjoy being there, that like aside from talking, like anything else is just completely out of pocket. So if someone throws something or someone tries to get in a fight with someone, I handle those either in really weird ways. So like last year, my go-to was if someone looked like they were going to get into a fight, right? Well, and this is usually like coming into my class or leaving my class, not during class. I would say, yo, are we going to fight? Hold on 1 second. And then I grab my camera and I pretend I'm taking like a video, or sometimes I did take a video, and just say like, oh, back here in West Philly, like it's hard out here, like teaching kids, like they're always trying to get in fights, and like, and then have the fight happen. And I tell them like, oh no, if I put this on YouTube, I'm going to get way more views if I have you guys fighting on here. And it's so ridiculous that it just stops the behavior. Or I have the Karate Kid 2 song, like always queued up on my phone or on my computer. So if someone's going to fight and you put on the Love Jam from Karate Kid 2, it stops kids dead in their tracks, because it's like now no one wants to fight during Love Jams or during music, because they know you just took the air out of what they were trying to do. So that's kind of how I rock with stuff. And there's 100 different variations of how I do things. But if anyone has a question as to what I would do about a specific issue, I'd be more than happy to talk about it. Heidi Walnum, I think that's right. How or when do you introduce the students to your classroom procedures? So my day goes, first day I do who I am and how excited I am for you to be in this class. And then I tell a little bit about like what the class is going to look like this year. Like these are the kind of speakers we're going to have come in. These are the kind of projects that we're going to do. And this is who I am as a human being, because I want you to see like that I don't just go home and read Shakespeare at night. Second day is my syllabus and classroom procedures. And so that's kind of how that rolls out. Or no, my bad. First day is, hey, how are you? So glad that you're here. You're going to write yourself a letter that I'm going to give back to you on graduation. The second day is when I actually introduce myself. So the first day I've already done something that no one else is doing, right? Which is like not talk about myself or rules. Second day, talk about myself, talk about the class, that kind of thing. Third day is generally like my syllabus, which is a one-sheet thing, which is going to be available on our website soon in like so you can edit it to your liking. But I don't do like multi-page syllabi. I do like a one-page fun-looking thing, and I go over my couple of procedures. Like my one rule that I have in class is give respect, get respect. I don't do any other rules, because by ninth grade, even younger, I expect that your parents have raised you to know how to act when you are out, right? So I don't have to say no cursing, no touching people, no kicking people, none of that stuff. Like I don't have those rules. My procedures though that run like, hey, I don't do late work or I don't do makeup work. Here's why. Let's like break that down. I want to explain it to you so you know, and I'm not like trying to like put my fist down and say I don't take late work. It's like, no, I don't take late work because of this reason. I don't accept makeup work for this reason. If you have a problem with that, or you think that you want to have a conversation about that, like when you do have late work and you think it's like should still be collected, come have the conversation with me. I love it. But know that my answer is probably going to be no. But every once in a while, someone is like, hey man, I was at a funeral, or my dog was sick, or this is what happened. Like I was slept at my mom's house because my dad's house, whatever. I'll have that conversation with you. Things like how and when do you go to the bathroom? Stuff like that is always on like the third-ish day of school. Brandon Corbin is asking, will you have your own book in your class? Oh, damn. Brandon, let's talk about this. I have a graffiti artist that I'm hoping and praying will do the book cover for me, because this guy is awesome. I'm not going to tell everyone who it is yet, because I have to finish trying to figure out how I'm even going to ask him first. But if I get this, not only will I have my own book in my room, I will have the cover made into a poster, and I will put it on my wall, because I like to remind my children all the time that I am a big deal and that they need to act accordingly, which is completely tongue-in-cheek, sort of. But I have a sign on the front of my desk that says I'm kind of a big deal. I have a big mug that Kate, the sleepy teacher who's on here, bought me for Christmas that says I'm kind of a big deal. And I just like reminding my students of that, because it's really funny, because teaching all boys, everyone's always trying to posture like how badass they are, like how many Instagram followers they have. And they'll tell me, they'll be like, yo, I have 2,000 Instagram followers, Reynolds. And I'm like, that's cute. I remember back when I had 2,000 Instagram followers. And so it's just like, am I making you spit your water out? No. I just like saying stuff like that, because it just takes it just pops their bubble sometimes. And it's fun to do, because it's their boys and they love just talking trash all the time. And I like that at 42, I could talk some trash also, man. So let's get after it. Vicky Stanton is asking just had a really bad year working at an inner city school. I am no longer at that school. I'm on the job market. I've come out with a shortage of confidence. How do I use my experience? Vicky, I will say that I have had any number of horrific years. Like this last year was a really tough year, but for different reasons than other years have been. Some years, it's personal stuff. Like, so this year I lost my grandmother. My grandmother fell and then was in hospice for a month or something like that. Passed away on Christmas Eve. It was really, really difficult for me. Then I had to teach the rest of the year through that. And then other times it's been because a co-teacher left in the middle of the year, or two co-teachers left in the middle of the year. Or my kids were having a hard time at school because, Brody was dealing with some nonsense. There's all these different reasons to have a bad year. But they've always been different. I think what you take from that is I've had this post on Instagram today, you have survived 100% of your worst days so far. Keep going. You're doing a good job so far. So I think remembering that and just taking it for the experience that it was, and then figuring out ways for it to empower you. Look, what's the worst thing that could happen in school is you could get fired, right? But if you're not doing anything crazy, you're not punching a kid or being completely inept in handing in your paperwork, in how you control a class, even if your classes are kind of bad, they'll probably keep you around. So it's it is just worth reminding yourself that you're doing the best job that you can, and then just keep trying to get better. I think one of the best things that you can do, and this is not a shout out to me and this channel, is showing up to something like this shows that you're the teacher that on a Sunday night, you're willing to show up to a live feed and then touch base with all these other people that are willing to do the same thing. Everyone that's in the comment section, all the people that are watching this now or will watch this in the next few days are trying to be the best teachers that they can be. And we know that because it's Sunday night and they're they could be doing 1,000 other things. They could be watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is a great show on Amazon Prime, or finishing up Netflix, or drinking beers, or being at the beach. But they're doing this instead. Putting yourself in and around people that are trying to be great at anything they're doing is the best move you can make, I think. Or joining the Facebook group, or putting yourself watching other YouTubers that are teaching, creating this kind of content. What you're doing is putting yourself in the space of possible greatness from people that are trying to be great also. And I think that really, really helps. And look, not as a selling point either, but I just, in case you need it, I also do mentoring on the side where I work with people on their lesson plans, on their classroom management stuff, on particular issues with students. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can just hit me up and I'll let you know what that would look like if we did that. And that's something just to put it out there. Logan Horton is asking, Logan is, never mind. My cousin has the same last name as your first name. And I don't know why I was bringing that up, because it's kind of weird that I even brought that up. So now I'm just going to go into the question. Logan Horton is asking, I'm starting my 3rd year of teaching at a new school after a rough 2nd year of teaching. How do I improve my management skills while being true to my personality? Logan, and I would say this to the last question also, which was, I forget what her name was, but not your success or lack of success at one school does not automatically translate to your success or lack of success at a new school. When I was in Camden, which is the first school that I worked at, I was there for 5 years. I felt like I was crushing it. By the end of my 5th year, I felt like I was on fire. I had a ton of success. I'd made a ton of great connections with other teachers, with students and stuff. I felt really good about where I was. When I moved to West Philadelphia, I thought that success would follow me, and it did not. Instead, I had one of the worst years of my life. I had to teach seniors. They put the football team and the basketball team in the same classroom with me, with kids I had no idea who they were. And it was just like you would imagine, that many jocks in one room acting. And it was off. Like, I would have nightmares about it. I would come home and just not want to do anything. It was completely destructive. And to my self-confidence and my self-esteem. But then I just grew out of that. It was that was literally the worst it could get. I cannot, if I told stories, which I will not repeat on the internet, if I told stories of actually what was happening or what was said, it would blow people's minds. But I survived it. And so, just I know if I went from my school now back to Camden for some reason, I probably wouldn't have, it wouldn't just be a jump off point of success for me, right? It is a long game. And so I think going in next year, still being consistent, talking with other teachers, getting to know people, being a part of the system there could really, really benefit you. You might get into a new school where the staff's awesome and it's just run better. So the students behave better, so that, your lessons go better because the students are acting better, because there's so many different things that could happen, that I think just play long game and remember that this is a trail run and it's not a sprint, and that you can get there by consistently getting feedback, consistently being around people that are awesome, and just trying to be great every day is all you can really do. Michelle Herman is asking, I was just hired to teach 6th grade ELA at an all-girls school with a mission to cultivate leadership in students who are, quote unquote, at risk. Any tips? Michelle, I think cultivate leadership in students who are at risk. I think one of the greatest things you could do for those students is go in without any, and I have to speculate here, right? Which is against my 10 commandments. I should write out 10 commandments. No, that's a little weird. No,
don't do that.
We can change it. But it's a rule that I have for myself, is to not speculate. But I need to to answer this. I would go in without a sense that you know anything about these students. No sense of where they come from, no sense of what their life is like. I think a lot of times when folks teach Title I, they think they have a sense of who kids are or what they're about or the kind of homes that they come from. And it's just not always the case. Sometimes it's true. You might go in there and think they come from broken families. They've never had a good teacher before. They don't like education. They are into the wrong stuff. They make the wrong friends, or doing their parents are incarcerated. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that comes along. I think going in thinking, I have zero idea what's going on until I learn. And the way you're going to learn is by building relationships with those students and actually learning from them who they are and what they're about, without going in and thinking and I don't know what Title I type of school you're in. It could be backwoods of Kentucky, could be on a reservation, could be inner city, black and brown children, could look a lot of different ways, right? But I think going in with that open mind is going to change. I think building relationships with those students and showing yourself as someone that can be trusted is paramount to your success in that school. Be visible, make sure the kids all know who you are and what you're about. And I think helping students figure out that they are actually important and the work that they're doing in your room is important is the best. So that means telling kids all the time that their story is important and they should get used to sharing it is important. So I do journal entries every single day, and that's how kids learn to tell their story in my class. I think always celebrating students is really important as well. But I think also, I don't know another way to put this, but like calling kids on their shit, like not taking, like I don't suffer fools easily in my classroom. So like if kids are like acting out of pocket or if they are doing something they shouldn't, I call them on it. Why? Because you are important to me, and what you're doing right now is not going to lead to success in any way, shape, or form. And you're distracting others from being successful as well. And I can't have that. I can't have you making noise over here and you're like causing a distraction or not helping to uplift, empower, motivate someone else. And that's really important to me. And then I want to break down why my lessons are important. This is important right now because of this, or this. If you can't answer that about your lesson, you need to rethink the lesson, right? So like kids that go, why do we have to learn algebra? I'm about to break it down for you. Like, this is exactly why I have to learn algebra. This is why I have to learn art history. This is why I have to learn English. This is why I have to learn Latin or French or whatever it is. Be able to answer those questions, and your answer cannot be it's on the test. So I think just those few things, which can fairly easily be done in without that much extra work, will really set you up for success in your school. What do you got, Duder?
Drinking cold coffee. Ice.
Finishing that cold coffee. Eric Johnson is asking, Reynolds, what do you look forward to each day of school? It's the students, man. And it's not all the students, and it's not all of my classes all the time, right? Sometimes those dudes drive me nuts. But I have a number of kids that come into my room every single day, like my man DJ Dirty Kev, like my man Turtle, like, last year, Cheesesteak and Cephas and Kent and Acres, like all these guys that come in and I see every day that I just like adore, that I just can't wait to see them. Me and Taj have a conversation every Monday that's either based on the Game of Thrones or is based on Walking Dead. We have me and Kev, I have to keep up with celebrity gossip because Kev loves it. And so then I show up and talk about, should Meek be in prison or what happened with his beef with so-and-so, like all that nonsense, like I keep up on because that's what Kev likes to talk about. And I like talking to Kev, so we talk about it. So like, it's those interactions that make me the most excited. And to be honest, I really like the people I work with. Like, I miss not seeing people in the summer because I like being around them all the time. So that works too. Michael Krasinski is asking, how do you get students to stop saying that they want to become YouTubers, Instagram influencers, and professional video game players? I think, Michael, you don't. You say, that's awesome. Now, what do you need to do to get there? Because if you look, so this is what I do in school. Because I am a YouTuber and I have, decent Instagram following, but I have a really committed, so my numbers aren't the biggest of all the YouTube and Instagram people, but damn it, I'll tell you what, man, in my comment section, I get almost no hate. It's just love. And that is not the same for everyone else. I'm not trying to set myself apart from anyone, but I'm just saying that I've taken real care. A lot of us have to make sure that we actually care about the people that are following us. So I know Kate the Sleepy Teacher does this as well. It's about creating that community, right? So if a student comes to me and says, I want to really be a YouTuber, okay, so what does that mean? Let's start now and let's look at what is that going to have to mean? So you're going to need a bio, right? So even if you break it down to little things, you're going to need a bio in your YouTube thing. It has to be something that's kind of witty, that tells people who you are and says something about your personality, right? So write that out. And now we're writing. Then we are talking about the dialogue or how we're editing stuff or how we are shooting things or how we're paying attention to light or how we're paying attention to photography or sound or editing. Those are all skills that kids now they have to teach themselves. Now they have to learn how to do this. Then Instagram, the same thing. I found that this is one of the things I tell my students, just putting a picture up only gets you a certain number of likes, follows, whatever. or it impacts a lesser number of people. And what we're trying to do is impact people. We're asking for their attention and we want to impact them. But if I write something underneath, like a brief story, then that gets me more love than usual. And if I want my message to get out there because I think it's important and I want to uplift and motivate and help more teachers, then I have to create impactful stuff. But if I have something written underneath that's riddled with like spelling errors and grammar mistakes, and I'm speaking with like saying like, "K, everybody," like if I can't write in a way that makes it accessible to everyone, then I'm lessening the amount of impact that I can get. So I think it's about teaching kids to do the things that they do with great care, and then helping them reverse engineer that, because then like maybe what you're doing, you need to learn some of the things I'm learning in my class right now, and I can connect those dots for you. And sometimes it's a stretch, right? Like if they're doing video games, it's a bit of a stretch, but like it is. If you watch YouTubers, right? This is the last point I'll make on this. If you watch YouTubers that are gamers, they are not sitting there going, so got a new game, and like it's kind of dope, and you need to be able to speak fluently. You need to be able to speak loud and proud and like be committed to what you're saying. You have to have a thought about what you're going to say ahead of time. You can't and hum and ha the whole time. You have to be able to speak up and speak your mind with confidence. Those are all things that we learn in school and learn how to in presentation school. So skills. So I think that that's important as well. What do you got? Michael, what's this? All's Drill Designs. Michael's asking, hey, did anyone ever win one of those squirt guns? Did not win one. How my students are going to be bummed. So
actually, we put out. It was past when we were going to, but
no, people won them.
No, we put. It was like a certain amount of people were supposed to win them. I did the auto picker thing, and it picked people's names. I went back on the video and posted comments that told people that they won. Only one person out of, I don't know, 5 or 10, I can't recall at this point, how many people won them. Only one person responded. Yeah.
So here's the short of that. Michael, send me an email telling me who you are with your mailing address, and I'll send one of them to you right away. Eric Johnson saying Stranger Things. Yes. I love it. I have zero expectations too. So I don't get like upset. I don't get like mad about things that happen. I just think it's all great and fun and awesome. And then I spend like a week watching all the fan theories and stuff like that on YouTube. Joseph Chiason? I'm going with Chiason. I'm not sure if that's right, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. Joseph is asking, first time commenting. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. So apologies if this does not fit, not an issue. My first question is, what are your thoughts about balancing between professionalism and building strong, meaningful relationships with students? So Joseph, I would say that it's the thing that makes people the most concerned, right? Because especially in a world, I always say it like that because I feel like I'm in one of those movies, in a world where like teachers are sleeping with their students, they're having inappropriate text messages with their students, they're impregnating their students, or the students are impregnating their teachers, right? This is all stuff that happens, and you always hear about it during the school year. It's like this crazy, wild controversy. I will say this. I'm going to tell this story. I had a student once that had a miscarriage years and years and years ago. She got pregnant in high school. She had a miscarriage, and she went to the guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor was of zero help. They just like tried to connect her with like some kind of like service outside of school, and like it was not like it was very cold. And it was not what she needed. What she needed was just for someone to listen to her. Right? I've never had a miscarriage in my life. I don't know much about that. Like I'm not a woman. Like I don't. My disconnect to that could not be further. But what I can offer is my attention, which I have learned is far more important than my advice. And so every day when all of my students would eat lunch together in my little trailer behind the school, we would sit there and we would talk about, I would just listen. So she and I would sit separate, and the students, I would do this with students all the time. If they had something like personal to share with me, sit in the corner and just listen to them. And all she would do is come in every day and just tell me how much it hurt, how she didn't feel like she could share it with anyone, how like, because her friends hadn't been through that and they're teenagers, so they're not like super empathetic all the time. How it was going with her mom, how her mom was trying to help her through it, like just regular stuff. It wasn't anything ultra personal. It wasn't anything that I felt like I needed to go to you know, the office with or tell someone else about. But it was this very honest thing. And we did this for about 2 weeks. There were 2 other teachers that year that were not friends of mine, but sat in my room in another corner and just talked about work while we were in there. At one point, one of the guys pulls me aside and he goes, "Reynolds, I just want to tell you, you're going to want to be careful talking to that student that way." Like insinuating that something more was going, as if I was even doing something inappropriate with a student, that I would do it while 2 other teachers and a whole bunch of students were in the room. Like, have a little more tact than that, bro, if you're going to hide something. But the flip side of that was like, they insinuated that something like inappropriate was going on. And I knew, and I told them flat out, like I said, you need to know that that is never going to happen in my life. And let me tell you, like, I'm not going to tell you what is going on with the student, but they're in a moment or a period of time where they're very vulnerable and they're feeling very hurt and they're feeling like they can't connect with anyone. And if I can be that connection piece for that student, then I'm willing to do that. And so I think, to answer your question, sometimes these things get really hairy, right? Or they're like a little bit sketchy. I think never put yourself in a situation that you feel uncomfortable with. If you do feel uncomfortable, make sure other people are in the room, make sure other students are in the room, make sure you're in a place that's public. But always, always, always be a sounding board for students. And if it is something that is someone tells you their parents are drinking, that they got beat, that they have been left alone at home for an extended period of time, I always tell who I'm supposed to tell. And my answer to the students when they say, "Bro, how could you sell me out like that? I thought we were down. I thought we were cool. How could you tell them what I told you in confidence?" Because you are more important to me than anything else. I care more about your well-being, your safety, and how and you as a person than I do about how you feel about me. That you are my primary concern always. And that's always how I have that conversation with students. And they just can't fight that. Like, it is like, it's too good of an argument that even if they're pissed for a little while, I let them know, like, dude, this is always out of care. Like, every single thing that I do is out of care. And let me reverse engineer like why I would do this or talk to you about why I would do it. And so that's kind of how that goes. I hope that answers that question.
We're at 6:11, and
Okay.
I'm going to jump to Stephanie Jimenez, who gave us 99 cents.
Thank
so
you,
we're going
Stephanie
to
Jimenez.
answer her question as our last
Oh, she just
one.
bought the question?
She did. She bought the question for
I
the
used to have a
night.
student who's named Stephanie Jimenez.
So she kind of has 2.
Okay.
But start with this one.
Okay, so Stephanie is asking, this might be weirdly specific, but what kind of systems do you have for students that turn stuff in? Nope, that's cool. So it's one of 2 things. Depends on how I need to start class. I either have a basket, I have a table in the front of my room. So as soon as kids walk in, they put it in the basket. So I'll have on my pre-class on the board, put your homework in the basket. But if I don't want them to do that, like if I want them to just come in and sit down and be ready as soon as we're ready to go, or I need them to grab something else in the room, I don't want them walking around too much. I'll say, grab your journal from the back or whatever it is, put your homework on your desk. And then I know that it's on their desk, and then I will either collect it or I'll have another student collect it. I like having students having jobs as much as possible, because especially kids that have like trouble getting settled or have ADHD or something like that, it's important for me to give those students jobs because now they're up and moving and doing something. So that's how I handle that.
That's her other second part.
Second question. Also, I'm in a school that has Chromebooks in class, but not everyone has access to the same tech at home. I'm wondering how I can help my students who don't finish and need more time with assignments. So that's the same thing as my school. So our freshmen, we have Chromebook, like we have a cart. I don't know why I'm doing this, so you understand what a cart is. But we have carts in our class filled with Chromebooks. Not everyone works as fast as everyone else, and not everyone has internet at home, and not everyone has a computer at home. So what I do is I try and just build in extra time. So like if everyone else is finished, they know what to go on next, to do next for the project while someone else can catch up. And then I just tell students, like, some of you are just going to have to like come in, during lunch or after school or before school to finish it up. And I don't feel bad about that. Like, I'm not taking away like your recess time or your, time with your friends or something like that. But I just tell them, like, in school, I always had to go to extra tutoring for, oh, Kimmy's calling. Phone call. I always had to go in for extra help before school, after school, during like lunch periods, because that's just how I learn. Like, I'm just like not as quick of a learner as everyone else. So that's just kind of always worked for me. And then just letting them know that they have time for the extra help is really important as well. So look, I need it to end. So before you go, I just want to tell you something real quick. But I have a meeting after this, so I have to honor that time with those people. But look, I really appreciate everyone that's coming on here. If you need help as you're going back to school, please check out the Facebook group. It's closed, and there's tons of great people in there, and I'm sure they would be willing to help you. If you or someone that you know this year needs help and needs mentoring, I also offer that service. So hit me up, and I'd love to be able to do that for you. And if your school has anything going on, like coming back, like they need a keynote, they need someone to do PDs, please reach out. I'd love to be able to do that. And it's just fun to meet people face to face that you've met on the internet. And I think that's it. Again, if there's anything I can do for you, hit me up. I'd be more than happy to talk to you. And we'll be back next week at 5 p.m. for the same sort of gig. And that's it, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Peace. Awkward ending because I got to hit all this stuff. And I say that a lot, but it's the truth. Done? Maybe?